Okay, so last week, Wednesday, I think technically it came out Tuesday night in most time zones in the Western Hemisphere, but technically officially Wednesday, the Teal Mask came out. And I played through it. It's a pretty short DLC. I don't know how many hours it took me. If I was just playing straight through, not doing a bunch of exploring, it feels like it's probably 3.5 hours ish. I definitely did a lot of exploring because it's a Pokemon game. I'm gonna want to do that. That's what I loved so much about playing Violet. Let me just roam around, find shit. Because I've said it before, probably several times on this channel. I don't really care for open world games. It's just not my cup of tea. But it also said for years, if there's one kind of open world game that I would play, that I would just sink my teeth into and be happy, it's Pokemon. I love the idea of just wandering around a region and finding new mons. Maybe like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. Give me that game and I will be happy. And they did. And I was happy. It has its problems. I will not deny that. The game runs like shit. The Teal Mask runs like shit. It does not escape my notice that there's an area in the base game that's a bamboo forest where the frame rate completely tanks, and there's a bamboo area, not nearly as large, but still a bamboo area in Kitakami that runs notably worse than a lot of other areas in Kitakami. It's the bamboo area, the giant crystal pool. Those are the two that come to mind. Now, it's still Violet, like, it still has a very slow, chuggy frame rate, which sucks. There are some areas of the game that, like, the detail looks very good. There's other parts where I'm like, this part doesn't look as good. But those two areas in particular, the game chugs. There were points playing it where I thought my game froze, but it was just like, no, or excuse me, like, it froze, but it didn't crash. I thought it crashed, but I was like, no. Give it a few seconds, it'll start working again. I'm like, yeah, that's not okay. It shouldn't be doing this. This is a fucking problem. Now, I already, like, that's kind of the weird conundrum I'm in, where I'm at the one point, this is a fucking problem. I shouldn't stand for this. But I also know if there's new Pokemon games, I'm gonna buy them because of how much I love the experience of playing Pokemon. Because even with the shitty frame rate, even with the areas where it can freeze for a few seconds and you think you might have crashed, I still had a really good time. I think the actual look of the Pokemon, like their textures and shit, looks fantastic. The design of the new Pokemon. So Diplin, I just kind of like it. Like, I know it's supposed to be more of a candy apple, but maybe it's the name starting with a D. Maybe it's just kind of the look of it. It gives me kind of like a daiquiri vibe, and I really like that. Or Trio, the Loyal 3. Monkey Dory, I think it looks okay. I don't quite love it, but I certainly don't hate it. I really like Okidogi and Pheasantipity. Like, I just really like their colors. Their Pheasantipity in particular, I really like the colors. Okidogi, I like how it's just a big buff green cat. It's just like, hey, it's green Incineroar. And I kind of dig that. And I like how they all have drip. They all have these fucking chains, and that is their ability, and their ability is fucking stupid. Toxic Chain. If that Pokemon lands a hit, it can be physical, it can be special, then there's just a 30% chance that their opponent is going to get badly poisoned. That is stupid. Because power creep is nutty. Poltergeist and Sinistcha. I don't think I like their designs as much as Sinistea and Poltergeist. Like, I don't hate it by any means. I think I just like the other version a little bit more, but I still kind of like them. Speaking of insane power creep, I don't remember what Sinistcha's move is called. But essentially, it's like, okay, so take Giga Drain. Grass type move does damage, and you can heal some of that damage. Take that, make it a little bit stronger, because I think it was like 80 base power to 90 base power, or it was some shit like that, but like it is 10 to 20% stronger, like a power stronger than Giga Drain. Hits both opponents, so you can, it's a spread move, so that's good in VGC. Also, it has, I think, a 20% chance to burn anything it hits. So you made Giga Drain a spread move, and also made it Scald. What the fuck? That is insane. And then you got like Blood Moon Ursaluna, which I think I don't remember what its ability is. It's like some shit that it can do plus Scrappy, which is the ability that lets you hit ghost types. So yeah, it lets you hit ghost types with normal moves and fighting moves. So instead of having to use like Odor Sleuth or Foresight, you can just do it as an ability. Ursaluna Blood Moon has that, and it does something else on top of it, because power creep is dumb. It is insane. It also did not escape my notice that when you battle Blood Moon or Ursaluna, the battle theme is the battle theme from Hisui. I liked that a lot. That was just a really nice touch for me. Most of the music in Kitakami I liked a lot. Like the trainer battle themes with Kieran and Carmine, I liked. Ogre Pawn's theme, the Loyal 3 battle theme, I liked a lot. The Overworld theme was, I remember just humming it like the entirety of the next day. Like after it had a long session the next day, I was just humming it. It was great. It's very homey and very comfy and very Japanese. And as someone who spent a lot of time in Okinawa, like in a lot of my early years, it does just kind of give me that feel of like, I feel like I'm home. This is just very welcoming, very comfortable. This is lovely. And speaking of lovely, Ogre Pawn herself, she is just fucking adorable. She's just a cute little, just a cute little jolly ogre. She is adorable, and I love her. So there's that. So that's basically presentation. Gameplay, there's nothing really to say. Like, it's Pokemon. You fucking know how Pokemon plays. There's this one section where you're running as part of the Ursaluna side quest, where you're just kind of playing a shitty version of Pokemon Snap. Or like you're taking pictures of Pokemon, but they're not doing a lot super interesting. It's kind of bare bones. There's this one mini game where I think if you do well enough, you get a shiny Munchlax, but I already have a shiny Munchlax from Arceus, so like, cool, but I don't need to do this. And the mini game itself was fine. Trying to think, is there anything else really to say about? I guess technically it's sort of a gameplay thing. Like when I was catching the Loyal 3, I caught the monkey in a Pokeball, I caught the dog in a Great Ball, and I caught the pheasant in an Ultra Ball. And I just like that I caught each of them in a different ball. It's like bang, bang, bang. It's like I actually went up the tier list. That's really cool. That makes me really happy. I got Ogre Pawn in a friend ball because Ogre Pawn is best friend. I got Ursaluna in a moon ball because it's all about the moon and shit. I was like, that. The fact that I was able to pull that off, I felt was really nice. I had fun with that. Oh. I knew there was something else I wanted to say about gameplay. I just wanted to say, like, if you beat, because I believe the levels scale depending on if you've beaten the game or not. As someone who beat the game, the levels of the wild Pokemon are around like 60. I don't remember if it was 60 or 70. But somewhere in that range. Ogre Pawn is 70. The Loyal 3 are 70. I don't know if that is fixed or if that is just like, yeah, you could get Ogre Pawn at like level 30 or so if you haven't beaten the game. The trainer Pokemon with Kieran and Carmine, they're in like their 60s and 70s, which is really funny in their first fights where Carmine's like talking all this shit about how, yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass. You fucking outsiders. You come into my hometown. You come to my village. I am gonna just wipe the floor with you. Go, Poochyena. And it's a level 60 Poochyena. Like, that's just why? Why did you do this? Like, this is goofy. I'm sorry. Like, this is funny. Now, I believe in the Indigo... I don't know if... Blech. The next part of the DLC is the Indigo Disc. I don't know if we have a date for that. I want to say like November, maybe December. My understanding is part of it will take place in Area 0. So because of that, since Area 0 is what happens after you beat the game, or like it is the end of the game, I would assume everything is balanced with that in mind. So I'm really hoping that when Kieran and Carmine show up in the Indigo Disc, because they are from the Blueberry Academy in the Unova region, which is where the Indigo Disc takes place, I'm hoping their Pokemon reflect that. Excuse me, at least in terms of their levels. And that we get, maybe not necessarily level 100, that would be hype. I would love that. But hopefully they'll be a lot stronger and tougher, like maybe better abilities, items, and shit, to make it more challenging. I don't know if they will, but if the Indigo Discs works the way I think it does, then it should be balanced with, they have beaten the game to access this. Let's make it challenging to people who have beaten the game. And if you've beaten the game, you've probably done some of these 6-star and maybe even the 7-star raids with level fucking 100 Pokemon. Let's make these NPCs with level 100 Pokemon. They're not fucking around anymore. That sounds hype. That sounds like a lot of fun. But getting into the story, full spoilers. I've tried to make a point to not say anything super spoilery up to this point, but now here we go. 3, 2, 1, blah. Short version of the story. Kitakami lore is that there was an ogre. There were 3 Pokemon, a dog, a monkey, and a pheasant, shout out Momotaro, who beat the ogre, or like fought the ogre back, but they died, and so they are revered as these great heroes, these protectors of the city. Like, they become martyrs, and that is what the Loyal 3 are. What actually happened, a story that is only known by a mask maker and his family for generations and generations, is that the ogre had a human friend, and they were outsiders, they were distrusted, and like kind of treated like shit by the people in the village. Which, quick tangent, reminds me of a character from Fate. Specifically Fate Apocrypha, and also Fate Go, of course. Their version, Fate's version of the Frankenstein monster. In the original novel, the monster, also known as the creature, is described as a creature, as this big, hulking monster that's kind of this patchwork of human parts, and it's hideous. Like, people see him, and they freak out, they scream, they look at him and think he's a monster. When you look at Fran from Fate, the initial reaction by the dude who first summoned her is, aw, like, she's adorable. She's so cute. You're like, I've read Frankenstein. I know Victor's an idiot. But you're telling me that Victor made this adorable woman and then went, oh, hideous monster. I mean, that's also something I thought was kind of stupid in the original novel. It's like, he created this thing, it had life, and then he went, oh, it's hideous. I mean, maybe the idea was without movement, he thought the creature looked kind of cool, and then seeing it move, it freaked him out. You could maybe have an argument that now he felt responsibility for it, and he's running from his responsibilities, because to me, the moral of Frankenstein is not humans shouldn't play God. To me, the moral of Frankenstein is some people shouldn't fucking be parents. But tangent. My point is, the idea that Fran is this character who is actually adorable, but her backstory is people thought she was ugly and hideous and was mistreated, doesn't really make sense to me. And when you look at Ogerpon, this like genuinely jolly creature with this cute face, bright smile, shining eyes, who is just following you around, moving like literally moving like this, just super happy. People thought she was like this horrible ogre in the past. They treated her like shit. Are they stupid? What the fuck were they smoking? Like, what's in the matcha? Like, this don't make no sense. But They weren't treated very well, but a mask maker made some nice masks, like for the dude, for Ogerpon, and wearing the mask, Ogerpon like changed her type and shit. It's grass, grass water, grass rock, and grass fire. Which I believe, who was grass rock? Oh, I think that's Laleep, because I think each of these typings were only held by one specific line of families before, like obviously not monograss. A grass rock is Laleep and Cradily. Grass fire is, what's its name? It's the pepper. It's the two-headed pepper that debuted in this. Scoville, and that's it. And grass water is the Lotad line. So she has access to all of those. Her abilities are also fucking stupid. It's, I believe, actually I don't know what they all are off the top of my head. I just know that the first of the base Ogerpon is Defiant, so if her stats get decreased, her attack will increase by 2 stages. I'm specifically saying she because Ogerpon is always female and the loyal 3 are always male. But when she terastallizes, her Terra type depends on what mask she has. It is either grass, water, fire, or rock. And like the mask becomes super big. She's hiding behind the mask. It actually looks really cool. Her signature move, Ivy Cudgel, it's like a 100 base power physical grass move. But depending on the mask, it'll either be grass, fire, water, or rock. When she terastallizes, a second ability kicks in that increases a stat. I don't remember what it is for each type, but I know base grass is speed, and then it's either like fire or like attack, special attack, defense. It's something like that. But she'll have 2 abilities at once when she terastallizes. Like, oh, it's like Calyrex. From what I understand, Calyrex was really, really, really dumb. I don't know how dumb Ogerpon is going to be in competitive. It sounds kind of nutty, but we'll see. Anyways, though, story. Ogerpon had these 3 masks. These other 3 Pokemon went, nah, these masks look cool, because I guess I'm going to make them sound like Dick Dastardly. Yeah, well, I guess that's almost more Skeletor. But so they wanted to go steal the cool masks. They ended up killing her companion, and Ogerpon took exception to this and fucking murdered them. And everything was misinterpreted by the village. So Ogerpon lives by herself in this cave and kind of up there in the mountain. The Loyal 3, which after they find out about this, Carmine starts calling them the Lousy 3, which I kind of fucking love. And, yeah, so that's the backstory. The current story is you go on a field trip to Kitakami. You meet these 2 kids who are from a different school, but grew up in the area. Carmine and her younger brother, Kieran. Carmine is a piece of shit. And I love the character. Like, let me say that. But she's a piece of shit. Like, she's very rude to her little brother. She's very abrasive. She's essentially a character. I don't even want to say she's necessarily a tsundere. Like, there's a little bit of that in there. But it feels like someone who is genuinely caring, but is also genuinely socially inept and just kind of doesn't know what she's doing with the way she talks to people and treats people, which I can see people finding her really annoying or just not liking her. I actually thought she was pretty funny. Now at times, like, especially, there are a few times definitely when she's talking to Kieran, where I'm like, I think you're going a little overboard here. Like, you're like a 9, you could tone this down to like a 6, even like a 4, let's be real. But generally, I actually found her character to be a lot of fun. Kieran is the more kind of shy, quiet kid. He's close to his sister because she's kind of the only person he has a lot of trouble making friends. But he sees, I'm just going to refer to the protagonist as Abigail because that's what I named my character. He sees Abigail and is like, hey, like, she seems kind of cool. Maybe I can make a friend. Starts hanging out with Abby. They start, they seem like they're hitting it off. He's having a good time explaining the backstory. And he's like, I know this is the backstory of my village, but it never seemed right to me. I always thought the ogre seemed really cool. I wanted to meet the ogre. Dude, do you want to go? like to the ogre's cave. I go there all the time because I really want to meet the ogre. And Abby's like, sure, dog. That sounds dope. Which, funny enough, just exploring, I had already found the cave. I was like, huh, this is cool. No, it's not. There's nothing fucking in here. And then when I got to that point, I was like, oh, okay, this is where I'm going to catch Ogre Pond later. Got it. But you hang out with Kieran. Then there ends up being a big festival, and you're going to get these masks. And Carmine's like, we only found 2 masks, one for me, one for my brother, and none for you. Yeah. And then she walks off, and then Kieran's like, okay, don't tell my sister I said this, but she was looking really, really hard for a 3rd mask because she didn't want you to feel left out. But now that you are feeling left out, she just kind of made a scene out of it. I don't know why she is the way she is, but she's not a terrible person. I just thought it was really funny. We go to a festival. It's kind of nice. And while you're at the festival, Ogre Pond just kind of walks up to it and is like, hey, look, shit's happening. People are here. I want to be included. I just remember like seeing a comment about like Ogre. I think the comment was like the villagers, man, I really hate that jolly green fuck of an ogre. Ogre Pond's jolly green ass. It's just like a gif of Ogre Pond walking and just swaying and smiling. It was precious. But Abigail ends up seeing Ogre Pond, is like, what the fuck is that? And goes to investigate. And then Carmine's like, what the fuck are you doing? Follows. And like, oh my god, the ogre is real and the ogre's adorable. Abigail, real quick. We can't tell my brother about this. I know my brother loves the ogre, and you might think it'd be really, really cool if he met the ogre. Here's the problems. 1, it's really late at night, and I don't want my brother to just go like chasing after it, going up to the mountain because it's dark. That's not safe. 2, if we tell my brother that we met the ogre that he's been looking for like all his life and idolizing and he didn't get a chance to see it, he's probably going to get upset. It might hurt his feelings a little bit, and I'd rather we just not deal with that. And 3, if we bring up the ogre, he's not going to shut up about it. And he's the only person in the village that thinks the ogre is cool. It's gonna lead to some shit. He's gonna get made fun of by people. He might just get... It's not worth it. Trust me. It's just better that he's ignorant about this. And then Abigail goes, all right, sure, dog. He's your brother. I trust you with it. So the next day, Abigail and Carmine go talk to Carmine's grandpa, the mask maker. And they're like, okay, so we met the ogre... And she was kind of nice and precious and adorable. What gives? And he goes, okay. Number 1, don't tell Kieran anything I'm about to tell you. Number 2, explains the backstory. And the reason he says don't tell Kieran is because he's like, look, we as the mask makers, like, we know the true history. We are the keepers of that lore. No one else in the village believes it. They think, like, if we start spreading this story, they're going to think we're full of shit. And who knows what they're going to do to us. Kieran, as someone who has always loved and idolized the ogre, is going, like, he's going to believe this 100%. He's like, I told you, I told all of you, I was right. And they are not going to let him live that down because they're not going to believe him. I know Kieran, Carmine, you know Kieran. He's going to make himself a target. It'd be better if we just didn't do that. And she's like, yeah, 100%. This is for his own good. And Abigail's like, all right, I trust you with your brother. I will help keep your secret. Kieran, a little bit earlier, when they first kind of start talking to Grandpa, he's like, hey guys, what's up? What are you up to? Why are you guys hanging out? Oh my God, Kieran! Like, this Christian's like, dude, just shut the fuck up and go do something. He's like, okay. Like, what the fuck? Okay, I see how it is. Like, I start making a friend, and then you go, like, hang off with my friend in the middle of the night, and when I kind of try to talk to you, you brush me off. And now you guys are having secret meetings in the morning and just brushing me off, and I can't be a part of it. Okay, I see how this is. So he walks off, the story gets told, and while the story's being told, it just cuts to Kieran, like, standing on the other side of the wall listening, and I think that's when he did, like, the fist clench. I saw it, I immediately thought of that meme from Arthur, where he just clenches his fist, like, oh my gosh, that is canon to Pokemon. This DLC is amazing. But after that, you end up meeting back up with Kieran, and he's basically kind of like, hey, so, there's something you want to tell me? This is the rest of the lore. This is what happened to the ogre. You think that's true? Like, you got any opinions on this? And Abigail's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I got nothing to say. No sirree, Bob, not me. I think this is around the time where it starts happening. Because you battle Kieran a few times, and the first few times he's like, hey, let me heal your Pokemon. Let me heal your Pokemon. And then it's around this time, he stops healing your Pokemon before you battle him. It's like he's starting to get genuinely upset and kind of bitter. And I like how they worked that into the gameplay. I actually thought that was a really clever move. Kieran ends up, like, stealing a mask. I don't exactly know what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to lure out Ogerpon to almost, like, forcibly befriend it, and I don't like the way I phrased that, but I'm gonna stick with it. And he brings it to, like, the Shrine of the Loyal Three, which wakes the Loyal Three up. Like, they were dead, and now they're not dead. I'm not gonna lie, that part, I wasn't exactly sure how this was working, but it did. So the lousy three are now up. They go to the village, and Carmine's like, oh, fuck, these assholes are now awake, and they're gonna cause trouble. We gotta do something about that. So they go to town, try to figure out where these assholes are. Oh, no, I think before that. Yeah, it is before that. They all immediately go to fight Ogerpon. They're like, oh, shit, we gotta go save Ogerpon. So you go up to the mountain. You save Ogerpon from the Loyal Three, and then Ogerpon's like, I want to follow you and be your friend. And I'm like, I want you to follow me and be my friend. And Kieran's like, can I play with Ogerpon and have Ogerpon be my friend? No. We are friends. Not with you, kiddo. But you end up going back to the village and be like, okay, where the fuck did these three assholes go? You talk to some people, like, hey, that one's over there, that one's over there, that one's over there. So Abby, Ogerpon, and Carmine go to find them, and Kieran's like, I'm not gonna go. You sure? You want to come hang out with us? Like, I know we were kind of joking a little bit ago, like, hey, you're not our friend, it's us two, but I mean, do you want to hang out with us? No, I got shit to do, go. Okay. See you. So then you go fight, like, Titan versions of the Loyal Three. You kick their asses, you get Ogerpon's masks back. And after that, you go back to the village with Ogerpon, and Kieran's like, hey, so, like, I stayed behind in the village to tell everybody the truth that the Loyal Three are all bullshit. They're assholes. This is what they did to Ogerpon. Ogerpon is awesome. Blah, 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 blah. And everyone in the village is like, our bad. We kind of fucked up. Whoops. Sorry. So after that happens, you go back up the mountain, you take Ogerpon home, and Ogerpon's like, but I mean, kind of like to follow you. You're pretty cool. I could use some new friends. And Kieran is like, whoa, hold on a second. I know Ogerpon seems to have chosen you over me, but I liked her first. I want Ogerpon. Battle me. And if you win, I will let you have Ogerpon. I'm like, okay, I don't like the nice guy entitlement vibes I'm getting. You're also like 12. So I get it. It's like I've seen a lot of different opinions on Kieran. People are either like, I fucking hate this kid. He's so annoying. I was so sick of battling him. He throws a fucking tantrum. What a brat. And other people going, the way we treated Kieran in the DLC is really fucking shitty. This poor kid, I'm not condoning the fact that he was kind of throwing a fit, but I get it. And I'm definitely more on the latter side. Like, I really feel bad for this dude. But he's like, I'm going to battle you for Ogerpon. Cool. and then I whipped his ass. Like, I don't think I was able to use Ogerpon in that fight. I was like, did I do that? That feels like something I did, but I don't think I actually did. But like, I kicked his ass, and then there's the part where like he's on the ground, and he's like slamming the thing. He's like, I lost. No, I wanted the Ogerpon. And then you fight Ogerpon, which is really cool. It's easy because poor girl's level 70, and I've got 6 level 100s with me. Or like, cool. You lose. But the way it works is she terastallizes with the Teal mask, and then uses the water mask, then the fire mask, then the rock mask. I might have the orders mixed up. But it's like you go through and fight every phase. Like, that's really cool. I like that a lot. Then you can catch her with just whatever ball you want. So, friend ball, you're mine. After that, the next day, you get essentially a call from Carmine being like, hey, the field trip is about to end. Me and my brother are about to go back to our academy in Unova. Please let there be a Legends game in Unova. I want Legends Victini or Legends Original Dragon. I want my fucking Civil War Old West Pokemon Legends game. Gosh, saying that out loud sounds fucking amazing. I don't know if I'm really gonna get it, but I want it. But point, she's like, okay, I really want to battle Ogerpon. I'm not trying to take Ogerpon away from you or anything. It's like, I want to battle Ogerpon. So she battles Ogerpon, gets her ass kicked. She's like, man, that was kind of fucking fun though. So you say your goodbyes to her, and then Kieran isn't there to say goodbye. Carmine's like, yeah, my brother's not feeling so well. Sorry. And you get the scene with Kieran. He's like, weak. I'm gonna become stronger. I was too weak to get Ogerpon. No one trusted me because they thought I was too weak, but I'm gonna get stronger. Just you fucking wait, Abigail. I'll be back. And then he like smiles, and then it's like, to be continued. Like, oh, okay, so he's gonna be the main antagonist in the next DLC. Okay. I'm kind of down for that. I'm willing to see where this goes. There seems to almost be this implication that he's being possessed. I think Carmine, she had said something about how he's acting really weird. Like, he's acting not like himself. I think even his eyes seemed a little bit different. And according to, like, rumors, leaks, data mines, and shit, there's the Loyal 3, which are based on Momotaro's companions, but apparently there's another Pokemon that is supposed to be Momotaro. That is like an actual like peach thing. It's supposed to be where the toxic chains come from. It might be something that actively like is possessing or kind of infecting Kieran, and we won't get that resolved until the Indigo Disc. But I'm looking forward to it. I had a good time with this. I liked the story quite a bit. I thought the actual lore and backstory was interesting. I really like spending time with Ogerpon. I liked Kieran and Carmine quite a bit. I'm excited to see more of them in the Indigo Disc. I'm excited to go catch fucking Great Neck in the Indigo Disc. I don't think there's really much else to say. It's like, yeah, Teal Mask, it runs like shit. If you can't get past that, I understand. If you can get past that, I think you'll have a good time. I certainly did.